Welcome back to the Just Some BS podcast. Today's special guest is me. So we've been absolutely crushing guests on the podcast. I want to thank everybody for submitting into the intake form and coming on and talking and doing a wonderful job. But today you have me. Well, technically Invader, he's right behind me, laying on the floor panting. He doesn't like the summer. But we're going to go through what I think is a fun subject today, probably about a half an hour. So we'll get into that. I want to start out the podcast, one, for thanking everybody for listening. So thank you for continuing and showing up in the stats. I love it, getting new areas and new people listening. So I really appreciate that. But I was out to dinner with two good friends, Nate and Dan. They'll know who they are. They sometimes listen. I'm glaring at the screen if you can't see me. So we were out to dinner and they mentioned that they just realized the name of my podcast has kind of two different meanings. No, so those of you who didn't make the connection of Just Some BS is just some Brandon Stanchuk, and then it's also just some bullshit at the same time, because I do a little bit of everything, and sometimes it is a bit of a BS, but then it also is a little bit of me at the same time. So I chose the name very specifically because I thought everybody would get the joke, and come to find out, not all of my friends got the joke. So if you didn't get it and you didn't see it originally, now you're never going to unsee it. It's one of those things. So you're welcome. I'm living rent-free in your head for the rest of time. So I will have to cut Vader out because he's being super loud, but he's here, not just in spirit. He's really here. So we are going to get into the subject today. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I think this is going to be fun. So ready for the hook? We've all heard them. Those leadership and culture quotes that pop up in LinkedIn posts, get plastered on office walls, or make their way into every keynote. And listen, I get why they stick around. They're short, they're catchy, and they sound like universal truth. That's all we want in life is universal truth. But here's my problem. In the real world, with real people and real challenges, some of these quotes just don't hold up the way they're sold to us. Either they leave out important context, they oversimplify something complex, or in some cases, they send us in the wrong direction entirely. So today, I'm very excited that I'm sharing 10 leadership quotes I can't fully get behind, and my why. Not because they're worthless, but because they deserve more than a coffee mug slogan treatment. We're going to unpack each one, talk about where it comes from, why people love it, and the truth I think actually works in the real world. So grab your mug, maybe one with a better quote on it, and let's get into it. Disclaimer. These are my opinions. If you love some of these quotes, keep loving them. This is just my opinion. I thought this would be an interesting subject for the podcast. We don't really get into anything juicy. This is something that I love to talk about. I think it's a little bit deeper. Maybe not. It's going to be a bit humorous too, as it always is. So let's go. So don't get angry. That's all I'm saying. These are just opinions. If you think it's stupid, it's probably stupid. Who cares? Let's go. Okay, here are the 10 quotes we're going to talk about. Number 1, culture eats strategy for breakfast. Peter Drucker. Why people love it. It makes culture sound essential, which I believe is true. I love culture. It's like one of my favorite things. It's what I love to spend most of my time on. But the reason I can't get fully behind it is without strategy, culture really has no direction. It's a great vibe, but a great vibe won't make up for a plan. I love plans. So what's interesting about this is I don't think I fully got into vision and mission statements and just causes until probably maybe a year, 12 months. Within the last 12 months, I've been really spending some time with them. And I love accountability. I love KPIs. I love metrics. I love data. I love all that stuff. But without the way out goal, we have goals every year, but the way out goal, the vision goal, some people can get lost in the sauce, and we all kind of need that, the flag to go after that's way out, in golf terms. It's the one that you can see, gives you hope, right? The Robin Williams quote. So I do think culture is amazing, but once again, I think culture thrives in a healthy company. And I think healthy companies have clear strategies and clear visions and good missions or just cause statements and are healthy financially and mature and all of the things you need to be a healthy company. So culture, I think, is a byproduct of really good business strategy, because I think business strategy is essential for a healthy company. I think that's why I can't get fully behind that one. Maybe culture feeds strategy, but strategy drives the car. I don't know. It's an alternative. It's one chat came up with. Thought that was interesting. But that's kind of my take on that one. Let me know if you disagree, don't like it, love it. It's on every mug. You have t-shirts about it. That's cool too. But that's kind of my take on number one, culture eats strategy for breakfast. Number two. Also, if you like this kind of stuff as we get through it, I know it's just number one. You're like, calm down. It's not that cool yet. But if you like kind of this approach for the solo podcast, I keep doing them because these are fun to put together and think about subjects I'd like to talk about for half an hour. But it could be anything. You know me. It could be like best cartoons of the 90s. We can get into some crazy stuff. I'm down for that. Number two, quote is, there are no bad teams, only bad leaders. And this was from Jocko. Why I believe people love it. It empowers leaders to take full responsibility. So remember, there are no bad teams. There are only bad leaders. Well, I can't fully get behind this one. So, is it always bad leaders? No, trust me. I love taking responsibility for things that are not going well. One of my favorite sayings is, if somebody leaves SWF for any reason other than an opportunity that we couldn't provide, then management needs to take a look at why and see if we can figure out how to fix it. I do really believe in that, but I do think sometimes people just self-select out of the culture. And does that mean it's the wrong approach? I think that argument could be no. I don't think everyone's supposed to fit in every solution or every culture. I'm not sure you can make a culture that will always fit everyone. So I think there are a ton of situations where it's bad leadership calls. I do think there's times where it's CREs, career CLEs, sorry, as I call them, career limiting events as employees. And that can be in leadership, that can be not in leadership, doesn't really matter. But I do think, you can have wrong people, wrong seat, wrong fits, wrong culture fits, just wrong company fit, all of those things, and may not necessarily have anything to do with leadership per se. So not totally there. I get the context that leadership's responsible for really trying to get the whole team to work together all the time and make sure that people are sitting in the right seats. So maybe it is their fault if they're not in the right seat. So maybe I'm getting behind this one a little bit more as I talk through it. But I don't think leadership always alone can fix all of those situations. He's going crazy right now. I don't know if you can hear him snortling, but he's snortling a lot. So that's kind of my take on that. I do think leadership is super important. I think they take a lot of the ownership for people problems and being able to at least dissect them to figure out if it is something that's fixable or something that's like just not going to fit the way the company's going, direction, vision, or whatever that looks like. So it's kind of my take on that one. Once again, let me know your feel on that. Shoot me a note, send me a DM, say you're an idiot. I don't believe with any of this. Jocko's my boy. That's cool. No worries. Number 3. Employees don't leave companies, they leave managers. This says Marcus Buckingham. I don't know who that is. If this was a direct quote. Why people love it? Reminds leaders their behavior matters. I think that's true. That's kind of like employees don't leave bad companies, they leave bad managers. Very similar to the Jocko one, kind of above. Reason I can't fully get behind it is people also leave for other reasons. Opportunity, pay, burnout, relocation. I mean, we've had a couple relocations because we're so specific of like in an area, especially manufacturing and construction and things like that. And construction, you kind of go a little bit everywhere, but yeah, I think there's plenty of reasons people leave. So I do think employees leave companies not just because of their boss or management. I think there's plenty of other reasons. I think the crux of this is employees don't leave bad companies, they leave bad managers, maybe with that context a little bit more in this one, which I've seen some or other versions of that similar quote, but there's a lot of reasons people leave. Opportunity is probably a big one. Pays, we hear that all the time. Whether you think that's a manager's fault, sometimes it doesn't always fit the context. So yeah, an employee can leave for lots of reasons, which is why I'm not totally on board with employees don't leave companies, they leave managers. I think you're leaving out a few keywords there. Number 4, what gets measured gets managed. I love this quote. But after I read through some of the synopsis of why this one can get a little messy, I kind of agree. And I love it. And other people love it because it validates using KPIs and data. And those of you who have listened to me before know I love KPIs. I love a good dashboard. I love data. I love the way it's objective and not subjective about managing things, people, projects, anything, you name it. Data just tells the truth. And that's why I love it so much. So as I read more into this and kind of a little bit more of a backstory around this specific quote, if you measure the wrong thing, you manage the wrong thing. And I think that's super valid because I actually wrote a LinkedIn post about this of like, it was the meme, the Real Housewives of somewhere, and the cat sitting at the table. And it was like, we need another KPI dashboard to solve the problem. And the cat's just like, why don't we just fix the problem instead of making another dashboard? I do think we can get crazy about KPIs and data because it's a little bit of false sense of security sometimes in leadership. Like, if I can see it, I'll always be able to manage it and stay ahead of it. That's not totally true because just because you have insight doesn't mean it's the right insight. So I do think what gets measured gets managed. Correct is probably an accurate statement. But if the context is it's always going to give me foresight to see what's coming and what needs to be altered or changed, that may not be true if you're looking at the wrong data or wrong insight. So definitely look at a specialist, review your process, always ask yourself, like, what's the riskiest thing that you're going to need that's coming out of this process? And then use data to make sure you're staying ahead of that because you're either good or you're not good. Those are the two questions I'd love to answer with data and KPIs. The key is defining what good and not good looks like in whatever context. You are being way too loud. A pointless KPI, yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at on that. Let me know, as you all know, what, like I said, KPI and API are like my favorite. Number 5, I love to hate this one. So I'm just going to throw that out there. The customer is always right. Why people love it. Encourages customer first thinking. I love customer first thinking most of the time. I do think customer satisfaction, customer understanding, partnerships, I'm down with all of those words, transparency, all of those things. With the customer is always right. I think that's way too vague, especially in a whole host of situations. It's not even industry specific. I think sometimes the customer can be wrong with requests and things like that, especially if you put it in the frame of culture for me or protection of your internal teammates, internal customers, because you will always get pushed from a customer side on what solves their problems or what their needs are. And it may not align maybe with some of your internal processes or missions or visions or values. So you have to be careful with that. So the true north, having values as a company, a mission statement that can always provide you the North Star. And then you can pivot that off of kind of all of the external factors you're getting from every other direction. It doesn't have to just be a customer. It can literally be anything. But I think mission, values, vision, all that stuff allows you to say, okay, external factors, how does it fit against what we believe in? And then you go from there. Because it can get chaos. I'm with you. That's a hard one because customer satisfaction, I know really good companies who are striving. I mean, there's amazing, and maybe I'm just wrong here because there's amazing companies that are very, 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 very successful that keep a customer first, customers always right kind of mentality. Maybe I'm just jaded because it's construction. I'm not really sure. That's just my logic to it, but I could be totally wrong because there's lots of really successful people that probably take that approach. So that's my thoughts around that. Let me know. We're going to take a quick 90-second pause here to give a shout out to our episode sponsor, BNMA. So if you're like me, are you getting hit with 100 plus AI solution specialists in your DMs every week? They're sliding into everyone's DMs from what I hear. So I'm getting the same thing. And if you're like me, you're probably wondering, who the hell should I actually work with to make AI improve my business, not make it more complicated? Because it seems like everybody's a specialist. And it's hard to sift through who's actually a specialist. So that's why I want to shout out today's sponsor is B as in Bravo, NMA. These folks don't just throw out tech buzzwords at you. They help construction and manufacturing teams replace outdated, duct taped together processes with connected, purpose-built software that actually fits how your company works. So not only that, they've got 30 plus years of enterprise experience, military-grade project management chops. Let's go. And they build a custom software with AI baked in, delivering results up to 50% faster without cutting corners. So yeah, If you're trying to scale your company, gain real-time visibility, or just stop throwing spreadsheets at everything, then you should check out bnma.us. That is bnma.us. Or better yet, go listen to their CEO, Elena Malignia, for a full hour on this podcast, and you can decide for yourself if her passion matches what you're looking for in the AI sector or the software solution sector. The link to the episode will be in the description, so you can check her out, because it's kind of hard to lie and be not yourself for an hour. So at least you'll get to know the CEO and understand if the company and the company values and her approach is right for you in the AI space or computer solutions. But what do I know? I'm just a gamer. And now back to the podcast. Number 6. We're at 14 minutes. Work smarter and not harder. Why people love it. Suggests efficiency over grind. That's true. Grind's kind of a big word. Well, was a big word maybe. I don't know if it's like not in the lexicon now, but work smarter, not harder, which we've all heard many times. So why I can't fully get behind it. In reality, success often requires both smart work and hard work. And I would probably throw in there like consistency over a long time, boredom with consistency. I've seen this a lot of times, but it just reminded me today because I had a conversation with a colleague around kind of consistency and how mastery comes with doing the same thing over and over again for a very long time. And you have to kind of be comfortable in the boredom of that. And I love consistency of things, so I don't mind doing the same things over and over again. So yeah, maybe that, I'm glad I enjoy that kind of thing, but I think success often requires smart work, always requires hard work, and then also requires a bit of consistency, showing up, repetition, being that 1%, all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of where I am with work smarter, not harder. Probably need both. Number 7. If you love what you, oh man. This one's kind of got me triggered lately. We're going to go through this one. Okay, here we go. If you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. I struggle with this one. Now, I do believe there's context. There's context with all of these, but why people love it. It romanticizes passion-driven careers. I'm all about that. If you can make money or support your life with something that is your absolute passion, like props, probably the greatest thing I can imagine is probably the greatest thing ever. For us mortals, I think that can certainly be a lofty goal, but I think we're in this, I'm not even going to say generation, we're in this time period where there's confusion that like, that's the only path. And I'm just not on board with that because I don't think it's as readily available as we make it seem. So it's just constant looking, when while you're looking, build up skills in something that you don't hate, that you could go to, that you could be consistent, that you can learn, that you could upskill while you're figuring out, maybe in hobby space or side hustle space, you're figuring out maybe what that passion is, and you can workshop it while you make money and pay bills. I know there's like this whole thing like you shouldn't have a safety net and you're really going to go for that could be true. Because remember, I'm super like risk averse. So like I'm not somebody who's just going to drop everything. But I also think you reach a time period in your life maybe where you may need to make a decision of like, am I going to make money, pay bills, start my life and keep upskilling and learning, and then maybe keep going with this side passion while I'm, making money and maybe starting a career in something that's maybe not my ultimate passion. I'm not sure what the right answer is. I'm just telling you my opinion of like, at a certain time period, like life starts happening, responsibilities start happening, and there's got to probably be a decision here. Like I have tons of passions that are hobbies. I love leadership. I love where I work. I love the people I work with, but it has bad days too, where it's like, you're either getting beat up by your team, or stuff's not going right, or project doesn't go well, or customer's unhappy, employees unhappy. Like you're going to have those days when things just are shitty. I think that's with a lot of things. I think you're going to even have that with your passion. What's interesting to me, and I'd love to have this conversation with someone. So if anybody's out there is doing their absolute passion, something they love, they've always wanted to do, and they found the perfect job, please get a hold of me because I just want to talk through that. And like, does your passion then become a job because you're doing, because you have to do it? Are passions and hobbies amazing because you don't have to do them? I love gaming. It is my passion and my hobby. Do I love it so much because it's not a job? Like, I'm not sure. Like, could I, people say I could game forever. It'd be like, but I've also seen streamers who like end up like hate gaming because they have to do it because they have to make money and pay bills. So I don't know where this scale sits on all of this. I just think this romanticizing passion driven careers and it's the only option. You should just keep looking into. I think you should keep looking and maybe keep working it or keep, you know, keep striving for that, but at the same time keep building up skills that can make you more money and make you more attractive to maybe better opportunities where you could maybe even split your time to be like a 50-50 instead of like an 80-20, so like 50 passion and 50 bills, like whatever that looks like. But like, keep scaling up and keep working towards that, I feel is a really good option. But what do I know? Because I think it's total up to you in your life, and that could be different for everyone. So maybe that just means that quote kind of works for you and doesn't work for me. Who knows? I don't know. A little passionate about that one, but that's where I sit. Let me see. Let me just make sure I'm not. Okay, that was 7. I'm going to 8. Oh, it's a short and easy one. Really famous quote, actually, from Mr. Simon Sinek. Leaders eat last. Short and sweet. Why people love it. Symbolizes servant leadership. Servant leadership's a pretty hot it's a pretty hot type of leadership right now. Everyone's using the word servant leadership. If you're okay, I'm back. So I was on number 8. My sister called, and she called once, and then she called me twice back to back. And what I was trying to explain to her is, if you call me twice in a row, back to back, I am thinking something's majorly wrong, because she never does that. So those of you who agree, she should have just texted me and said, hey, call me when you get a chance. But she's like, well, you didn't pick up the first time, so I called you again. And my nephews were asking about gaming headsets because they beat the crap out of the ones I got them for Christmas. So they want a suggestion on a new pair. These babies have been through a long haul. So anyway, little side story there. I'm trying to get her on the podcast as well. And she told me no, because she's like, I'm just going to laugh the whole time and then I'm going to snort. And I was like, well, yeah, that's part of the fun. So you guys can start pressuring her to come on the podcast. Anyway, so number 8, leaders eat last. Simon Sinek. Why people love it. Symbolizes servant leadership. Like I was saying, servant leadership is all the buzz right now, all the time. That's a whole nother category we could go down. I don't have a problem with servant leadership. I'm just not totally sure I understand, like, serving others. Isn't that kind of leadership? Do we need the servant word in front of it? I think the definition of leadership is serving others. What do I know, though? So why I can't totally get behind it. Sometimes leaders need to eat first to have the energy and clarity to lead well. So let's get into that. So this is kind of, for me, like, if you're going to show up as your best self and support your team, do everything you can each day to be the best version of yourself, you may need to eat first. And by eat, that could mean anything, right? That could be like, for me, if I don't get away from work, like every 60 days, I'd lose my mind. So that break and disconnect from the stress and the socializing and all the things I have to stretch to be a lot of the time. I think if I don't do that, I'm not my best version. Usually I'm agitated, edgy, and that just reduces collaboration, innovation, diversity of thought, people opening up, trust, like you name it. They could dilute all of that. So really trying to keep a measure on that to make sure I'm clear, healthy, showing up in the best way possible so that I can also support the entire team and be as supportive as possible for the entire team, if that makes sense. So this whole leaders eat last, like, I get the context. Like, we, as leaders, you give away the wins and you take all the beatings. I'm on board with that. I think that's kind of the concept of what they were looking for. But just don't forget to take care of yourself. Don't take that so far down the road that you're working way too many hours. You're stressed out. You're carrying way too much weight. You're doing very little delegation. And you're asking yourself, why doesn't anyone care as much as me? Maybe you're in a bad headspace. Take a break. make sure you're minding your own energy and health. So that's where I'm at with that one. Number 9, failure is not an option. Apollo 13 film. Dun, dun, dun. So why people love it? Pushes determination and commitment. So people love this quote. That's a great movie, by the way, as well. But reason I can't fully get behind it, we all kind of praise failure now. Like failure's the new vibe. If you're not failing, you're not trying. Doing new things comes with failure. So if you're too afraid to fail and failure is never an option, are you ever going to try anything new? Now I get in this case, like it was like we have to figure out, or like lives are at stake. And I understand that. So it's really pushing beyond like the pushing for solutions, really pushing your mind beyond the front facing problems to find that solution. I think that's valid, but in context for the word failure is very important for pushing new boundaries, pushing new limits. I know in this context, we have to find a solution or bad things are going to happen. So I can appreciate that. Just don't forget and don't use this failure is not an option in the context of like failure is something you should never experience, because then you're probably not pushing yourself too far. So just mind the context of that one. And number 10, it's not personal, it's business. The Godfather. Why people love it? It encourages separating emotion from decision making. Business is personal. Personal is people. Business is people. People is business. Vader thinks so. So, I mean, business is people, relationships, trust. That's super personal. So, I think in context, obviously, with The Godfather, everything was personal because it was very family oriented. So with this one, don't forget business is very people focused. It's very emotional. It has a lot of emotions in it. It will be personal. I also don't believe I've met one person who can separate personal life from business at the door and like turn it off. I can't do that. I carry all my bags right into work. I'm having a crappy morning and here comes me with my carry-on and my check bag and I'm rolling right into work with all that stuff. It's not stopping at the door. It's not sitting outside. It's coming in with me. So realize most people do that. So you will have to sift through some of that personal baggage as well. Which means that yesterday everyone could have been fine. And then today you're not cool. So you kind of have to work through that and give people space to kind of open up about that. Maybe have resources to help people work through that, or whatever that needs to look like. But that's a tough one. But I do think business is personal for the most part. So that was number 10. So here's the thing. I'm not saying these quotes are useless. In the right situation, with the right context, every one of them has something worth holding on to. But in leadership and culture work, context is everything. Real life is messy, people are unpredictable, and one-size-fits-all advice rarely fits anyone perfectly. Context. So instead of taking these at face value, think of them as starting points, prompts for deeper thought, not final answers. Certainly, I'd love to hear from you. Please let me know if you think this is craziness, if this is stupid, if you like this approach. But what's the leadership or culture quote you've heard a million times that you can't fully get behind? Let me know. Send me a DM on LinkedIn or in this little post short of this episode. Let me know what you think there as well. There's a certain quote you're just like, man, I wish people would stop saying that. Get it off your t-shirt, that kind of thing. Maybe we'll do a part 2. Maybe we'll do something different. If you love it, let me know. If you hate it, let me know. We can kind of decide that moving forward. But this was kind of fun, I think. Guess it depends on how people take it. I think that's all I got. Yeah. Thanks, Vader. So I guess I wasn't alone. This isn't a solo pod. Solo pod and Vader. We'll catch you on the next one.